Yeah, my bad. So trying to make it a little bit better. Let's see if this is better. Oh, it just forced closed. It just forced closed and quit. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. What's up, Ryan? Yeah, my stream just cut off. Maybe they trying to take me out. Oh, that's crazy. They just ready. I'm not even that big of a YouTuber. Dang, my stream just cut off. That's not fair. That's not fair. Um, hey, but what's up, everybody? What's up, guys? How are y'all doing? How's everything? Hope all is well. Um, yeah, so we got some news today. We got some news since it seems like my stream just went down. I guess I might as well talk about the news before they take me down again. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. All of the above. How's everybody doing? Uh, I am obviously in some sun. The sun ain't playing no games with me, right? Uh, Third party software. Well, I should say it like this. In the last couple days, has anybody had problems logging on to Lyft? It was probably like a couple days ago. I forget, like if it was like Monday. What's today? Today is Wednesday. I think today's Wednesday. So yeah, Monday or Sunday. Did anybody have problems trying to log into Lyft? Because if you did, then that's what this is all about. I can't remember if it was Monday, if it was Sunday. It was one of those days when everybody had problems trying to log into Lyft, and it was just like, oh, we not doing Lyft today, and all of that stuff. Yeah, this is what comes from it. So this is just my opinion. Obviously, I don't know. Nobody talks to me. I don't know anything from Lyft. I just know I got the email today. So if you use a third party software, uh, in my case, I use Maestro. If you use, get what the other one was. Also use Gridwise. If you use Solo, basically anything that attaches to your Lyft account, Lyft just sent out an email. Well, maybe not just. They sent out an email today saying that you have to remove all of that stuff from your account. You have to remove all third party services from your account. That was the email that we got. Um, I'm trying to see. We use a bunch of third party services. So if you didn't get that, then that's awesome. If you have anything tied to your account, so I use Gridwise. That's the app that I use, but you can use Solo. There's a couple other ones. I use that for mileage tracking. Um, to kind of track your mileage. So I use that one. If you guys use it, if you guys use Solo, I know Solo is the big one. That's the one that a lot of the YouTubers promote. Yeah, Solo is the other one. So yeah, basically what Solo does is it's kind of like it's basically Gridwise. It's just you got to pay a little bit more. You got to pay a lot more for it. And it has more features. Like you can see like who is making money in your area. You can kind of look at like you kind of see like who they have like a leaderboards and stuff like that. I don't use it. I use Gridwise. Gridwise is better for me. Still have to pay for it. But basically, the email said that if you have anything third party attached to your Lyft account, right now it's only Lyft. Right now it's only Lyft. But if you have anything attached to your Lyft account, it basically gave you a warning saying that you will be deactivated if you keep that stuff up. So yeah, so they gave the instructions on how to like remove it and all of that stuff. But yeah, so if anybody has that stuff on their account, so I use Gridwise as well because you guys know I multi. So I do multiple apps. So I don't really do much of Lyft, but when I do, I do Lyft, I do Uber, I do DoorDash every now and then. I'm doing VHO. When I used to do Amazon, I would do Amazon. You know, multi-app, multi-app. And so it's like Gridwise. I'm referring more to Gridwise because I don't. That's the one that I use. It's Solo and it's a couple others, but it's basically a third-party app that you give access to, right? You give access to your profile. And when you give access to your profile, what happens is it keeps track of the data for you. It keeps track of your earnings, in other words. So I don't know if you guys do it, but you're supposed to keep track of your mileage. That's one of the main things that I use GridWise for, to keep track of my mileage. Because you got to give an account for a year for tax purposes. So yeah, I use a lot of I use that service. The other side of things is there are third party apps like Maestro and I can't think of the second one, man. So the big one used to be Para. If anybody's familiar with Para, Para used to be around. It was a free, and basically it would filter the rides for you so that you didn't have to look at it. Um, Now I can't think of it. All I can think of is Maestro. What is the other one? It's strictly for Android. That's why I can't think of what the name is. But I need to look this stuff up. But yeah, if you're using any of those services, I'm trying to do a quick Maximo. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. DSN. So yeah, Maximo is the other one. So if you use Maestro, Maestro is more so for iPhone. Maximo is more so for Android. If you use any one of those services, yeah, that's another thing. It's another third-party service. Again, when we say third-party service, it's not coming directly from Lyft. And so basically, so in my case, I'm using GridWise. If you use Solo, Everlance is another one. Basically, any of the apps to either keep track of your earnings. In my case, because I multi-app, or keep track of your mileage. Um, you got to basically take all of that stuff off. You got to take all of that stuff off. Lyft just came out with the email. Probably. Well, I mean, they came out earlier. So the email came out earlier. It was about an hour or 2 hours ago. So again, shout out to ELT. But yeah, I seen it in my email. I'm like, yo, what's going on? So again, if you use any third party services, that's the point of this video, this live stream. If you use any third party services, Lyft is saying that this is your warning. This is your warning. And they're giving this warning. It's kind of convenient because couple days ago, nobody could log into Lyft, if you guys remember. Like I said, it was either Monday or Sunday. Nobody could log into Lyft. The servers were down, whatever. So what probably happened was that, this is my IT background coming into play. Again, I don't know. Lyft hasn't made a statement. But what probably happened was somebody used. Uh, so what happens with these third-party services is they ask you for your access to your account. Lyft gives them a API token, is what it's called. An API token. Again, I'm not trying to get too technical because I know you guys don't really care, but it's a token to use their servers, to get the data from their servers. So obviously you're not specifically on Lyft. You may be on that app, but that app is asking for requests. It makes a request to your account data, so that it can do whatever it needs to do. And so what I'm guessing happened is that some group of people, whatever, decided to use that access token to get access to the data servers of Lyft. Now again, Lyft's a like multi-billion-dollar company, so it takes a lot. It would take an incredible amount to really like have what happened the other day. We as drivers, we look at it like, oh man, Lyft's down, man, I can't make no money. But this is a multi-billion-dollar company. You get what I'm saying? So like if it's gone down, it's serious power behind that. Like my little computer can't make Lyft go down. My little computer it gonna bring Lyft down. I don't care if I got the best computer. It's gonna take like real power behind that. And real power, I'm saying like it's gonna take a group of people, in other words. So what I believe, again, this is unfactual. What I believe is that some group of people use the third party connection to tap into Lyft servers and obviously bring the servers down. Now you can't bring the servers down for forever because, like I said, it's $1 billion company. Ain't no way you can bring down Lyft for that long. But they did for a couple hours. So whoever the hacker group is, whoever decided to do it, what for whatever reason that they did it, we're now gonna face the effect of them being able to use that pathway. It's called an exploit, in other words. So they exploited the system. Lyft has always given access to third party people because it helps drivers. Drivers make money. You know what I'm saying? And we have these are called these all of these things that I named, Gridwise, Everlance, Maestro, Maximo. Those are just a couple that I can think off the top of my head, but those are basically driver resources. Those are things that help drivers. Um, Now, if Lyft doesn't necessarily like a lot of the resources. So Maestro, Maximo, and Para, what it used to be, Lyft has had problems with us with those. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna remind you guys. This is where, so if you guys see the new updated offer screen, where now Lyft tells you the hourly pay on each offer, that didn't just come out because Lyft was being nice. That came out because Lyft was trying to shut down Para because that's what Para does. Para gave you the ability to see, uh, not just so yeah, you can do the math in your head. Okay, yeah, it's paying me $15 for 20 minutes. Okay, yeah, that's probably like $30, $30 an hour, $35 an hour. Yeah, you can do that real quick math in your head. But what Para did and what these to do is they give you that, they make that calculation for you. So you don't really have to look at the amount. It's fairly quick because y'all know how this goes. All of the apps try to make you make those decisions as quick as possible. So when you have something like Para, when you have something like Maximo, when you have something like Maestro coming into play where it's just showing you that data, it's making that calculation for you. It literally takes like a millisecond. So it's kind of giving you, you know, it's kind of giving you that advantage. That the apps don't want you to have that advantage, if that makes sense. Because they just want you to just look, okay, accept. Look, accept. So yeah, what I'm assuming is that, again, Lyft hasn't made a statement and they probably won't make a statement. That whatever the case is, whatever happened on Monday, however, whichever way it was that caused the systems to go down, yeah, it was something with the third party access. So now, a couple days later, now that Lyft have been able to do their research and kind of figure out what happened, now they're coming after anybody that's using any third party service. And that's any third party service. And they're making it very clear that it's against the terms of service. So even people like me that just use Gridwise just to keep track of my earnings, I'm targeted. Obviously, people that use Maestro, Maximo, is no longer with us just because they shut that down. They shut it down. That one, they shut that one down because it was free and everybody can use Prime. No, so like I use Maestro. Maestro is what, $20 a month. Maximo is what, $6 a month, $7 a month. So it's not for the faint of heart. Because you're paying like you're paying $7, $8 at least $20 for these services now. And even still, there's they it's not a perfect relationship. In other words, it's not a perfect relationship. The apps don't want you to be able to make that decision. They don't want you to have the data to be able to make a decision, if that makes sense. Mm. Yeah, they just don't want you to have that information. So, TR, what's up, brother? TR says Lyft tracks your mileage driving with and without a passenger. Yes, Lyft may, but Uber does not. And in terms of IRS, well, in terms of how can I say this? I'm not a tax professional, so don't take the information that I say as 100% legitimate. But yes, with a passenger and without a passenger is fine. But when you leave your house to begin your work, that is when you can technically start tracking your mileage. Again, it depends on how you track your mileage. If all you're using is the apps, then okay. In my case, I track my mileage from the point that I start my shift, if that makes sense. When I start my shift is when I'm tracking my mileage. Just like if I get something to eat while I'm on my shift, that is obviously a business expense because I'm doing business while I'm eating. So, like I said, again, I'm just kind of giving you the. I can't tell you what to do, but and that's Lyft only. Uber does not. And obviously the other apps, if you use any other apps, they don't really track your mileage at all. So it's gonna be a struggle. Um, But yeah, let's see. So TR says, "Am I still in a Tesla?" Yes, sir. This is absolutely a Tesla. Yes, sir. This is absolutely a Tesla. I mean, I guess I could have did it this way. Yeah, this is still a Tesla. It's just with the sun. The sun is crazy. So, I gotta block the sun. Gotta block the sun. Yeah. But yeah, so if anybody is still using those services, what Lyft explained in the email is that you gotta remove those services entirely. Again, I just read it real quick, so I didn't get a chance to really look into it. Did anybody get the email, or was it just me? Was it specifically targeted at the people that use Maestro, Maximo, well, it's no longer Power. So Maestro or Maximo, was it specifically targeted to those people? If you got the email, let me know. But yeah, it said all. When I read it, it said all third party services. So if they're specifically saying no Maximo, no Maestro, then that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation because obviously, yeah, they do help. I'm not gonna lie to you, they do help, especially in times where it's busy, and especially in times where Um, oh, okay, yeah, okay. So shout out to Mr. DSN. But do you use any third party services though? Like, so Mr. DSN says, I did not get the email. I don't use those. So I guess what I'm saying is, do you use any third party services? Do you just turn on your Uber app? I mean, well, we're talking about Lyft. Do you just turn on your Lyft app and leave it at that? Mm. Okay, so yeah, you wouldn't be targeted. This is only for this is only for people that use any type of third party service. I mean, obviously, the guesstimate is that it's more so for people that use Maestro or Maximo. Those are the two that most likely are being targeted. Uh, But it also said any third party service. So y'all know I try to be very technical because when you get these emails, it's like, okay, either you do it and you survive and you keep your account, or you don't and you lose your account. You get deactivated. And I don't want to be. Obviously, I don't want to be on here like, man, I'm deactivated from Lyft. Even though I don't do much Lyft, I don't do Lyft at all. Like, I have to force myself to do Lyft. I don't do much Lyft at all. Yeah, like in the last 2 months, I think I've only done one ride. Uber is obviously the platform that I care about, but we all know that with these apps, the way it works is all it takes is one. So now that Lyft has come out and made this bold declaration, you know Uber's going to follow up. Uber's going to come out and say the same thing. Hey, because they don't want to get the same thing happen to them. You know, it makes sense. It makes sense. It definitely makes sense. But you already know that that's coming. That's the next step. So it happened with Lyft, and whatever happened, shut them down. Or maybe they tried to shut down Uber, but just couldn't do it. I know Lyft is kind of, so Lyft is Lyft. Lyft is, yeah. But whatever happened a couple days ago, this is the result. This is the retaliation. This is how they're getting. So I know, they haven't said specifically what happened, what caused the servers to go down, but if they're sending out this message, you can use context clues and just believe that it has something to do with third party services. Something to do with third party services. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be Maestro or Maximo hacking them because that doesn't make sense because they're filtering the data. They're not all Maestro and Maximo are doing is filtering the data. They wouldn't hack. Well, they wouldn't like try to take down Lyft because then their service doesn't work. If that makes sense. Because I don't know, but that's my opinion. That's my opinion. But what I'm guessing that whatever exploit is what it's called. Backdoor is another term for it. However, Maestro and Maximo, you get in to see the data is how I'm guessing the hacker or the group, the collective or whoever, that's how they got in to shut the server down. That's what I'm guessing. Again, that's my IT background. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know I got that email, and that email said, "Hey, you better remove all third-party services from your Lyft account." And I'm like, "Damn, I don't even do Lyft. I haven't done a Lyft ride in like." They definitely, as you can see, they can track all of this stuff. So the fact that we've been good for like the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is how like, it had to be something detrimental with that specific situation. And I just, it would be common sense that Maestro or Maximo wouldn't try to take down Lyft because then that stops their business. That's easy. That's like common sense. Like, why would I shut down, the business? My job is to filter data. So if I don't have any data, then I can't make money. You know what I'm saying? Like that's common sense. So yeah, it's whatever. I'm guessing whichever way that they get into the data is how the hacker decided to shut down Lyft servers. Like I said, Lyft is $1 billion company, as we all know. $1 billion company. So if you shut down $1 billion company, yeah, there has to be more to that. There definitely has to be more to that. Mr. DSN says technically they are not supposed to control what tools we use to do our work if we are independent contractors, but they break the rules like it's nothing. So exactly, exactly. So what Lyft is saying is because it's a breach of the contract that we signed because we're giving they're technically using our account from Lyft, but obviously Lyft doesn't make that data public. If, like, does that make sense? I don't want to say it confusingly. So it's legalese. In other words, it's legalese. That's the way that they get around this stuff. Legalese. Like, yeah, if we was just a regular contractor, Yeah, it's a tool. They can't stop what tools you use. But in this case, they're damn sure gonna try. They're gonna try. Like in my case, I specifically use Gridwise to track my mileage so that I have a good estimate of what I'm gonna give the IRS at the end of the year because I do multiple apps. Amazon, when I did Amazon, Amazon don't track your mileage. They don't care about tracking your mileage. That's your job. VHO doesn't track your mileage. VHO hides your mileage, if anything. They'll tell you your mileage up front. So, like when I take an offer, it's not like it says, "Hey, this is a 100-mile offer." No, it's you get paid for 3 hours. Do you accept it or not? Or DoorDash. I mean, I guess DoorDash does put your mileage up there, but even in that sense, like you still, yeah, I mean, they still hide the mileage that it takes you to get from wherever you're at to get to the location. So it's kind of like, and you rely on the apps to give you the most accurate mileage. If you've tracked your mileage, then I guess this is more of like a different kind of conversation. If you ever tracked your mileage from the point that you start your shift to the end of your shift and you try to like reconcile it or you try to compare it with what the apps give you, you'll know firsthand that it's going to be way off. Way off. And as independent contractors, mileage is our biggest deduction. Again, I'm not a tax professional, I'm just talking, but mileage is your biggest deduction. So if you're losing thousands and thousands of miles, that's a problem, right? That's a huge problem. You know what I'm saying? That's a huge problem. So that's why I use services like this. So the reason, so GridWise in that sense is tapped into my account. So when I start my shift, okay, now I go from point A to point B, all of that is logged. And it's like I have the backup of knowing, hey, it's not like it's kind of like random. No, that was when I started my shift. You get what I'm saying? So it's a lot more, and then it'll notify you like, hey, if you give it if you enable notifications, it'll notify you, hey, you still got us tracking your mileage. Are you still on your shift? And it's like, oh no, no, I'm not. So it's just little things like that that helps us. Or hey, you look like you've been driving. Do you want to enable the do you want to enable us to track your mileage? So it's little stuff like that. And then on the other side, we're still talking about GridWise. On the other side, it's kind of good. Because I don't have to like when I say I make $200 a day. Yeah, I can do the calculations. And yeah, you see sometimes in my videos, I do the screenshots and all of that. I liking to do that at the end of a shift. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm lazy. Because I'm working. I'm working all day. So, I mean, yeah, it's first world problems. It's like, man, I don't want to keep track of that stuff. I want to look. Oh, boom. Okay, I made $200. Okay, cool. Done. Never think about it again. And it keeps track of all of that. So that way, at the end of the week, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, I can say, you know what? I made $70,000 with Uber. I made $30,000 with Lyft. I made $10,000 with this. Like I can go down the log. I can go down the system. And then I can give it to my accountant. It's so much easier. Oh my gosh. So much easier. So much easier. Now, on the flip side, Maestro or Maximo. So I've never used Maximo because I have an iPhone. I'm an Apple guy, as you guys can see, Apple Watch, Apple phone. You know what I'm saying? Apple AirPod. I'm an Apple guy. So I've never used Maximo, but I use Maestro. And Maestro is beneficial because again, Uber tries to hide so much data from us. Uber and Lyft, they try to hide everything from us and they only give you like 1 or 2 seconds to really make a decision. So it's like, you know, these are apps that I can use to check myself. Like, bro, did I really take a good offer? Y'all know, like, I don't know if you've ever been in this situation, but like, you know, when you accept the ride too quickly, like for me, I like to go directionally. I like to go, so like right now it's 6:30. Traffic is fine, you know. But if it was 5:30, 5 o'clock, I don't want to go down south because that's rush hour traffic. So if you accept the ride too quickly and it's like it's going down south, that's not the great. That's not as good of a ride as I want. So the way that I handle my business, you know, that's not a good ride. So I want to, you know, so you know, they do give you the ability to kind of look back. Oh yeah, this was going here, this was going there. You know, because that's all data that Uber and Lyft don't make available to you in terms of that trip offer. Yeah, y'all know it's hidden. You only get like 2 or 3 seconds, and with Trip Radar now, it's even worse. So you gotta be, you know, these apps do help us kind of do our job. It's legalese because it's their platform. So yeah, I mean, obviously, right now this is specifically Lyft, but you know, you just kind of know that Uber is going to come out with something. You just kind of know Uber is going to follow along, watching what happened with Lyft. They're going to follow along and put out another email, and it's like, you know, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to notify everybody. So, you know, uh, it is, if you have any third party services on your account, any third party services is what the email said. I'm guessing that they're more so targeting Maestro, Maximo, and if you know if Paro was still around. Honestly, if Paro was still around, I would absolutely 100%. If Paro was still around and it was still free, man, I would pay for Paro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because Paro was so good. Paro worked. Paro worked. If you didn't have a chance to use Paro, Paro was amazing. Like, oh my gosh. I love Paro. Paro was amazing. And then they gave you like other apps that you could download. Like they was on point. It was ahead of their time. To be honest. But yeah, if you use any third party service on Lyft, this is specifically for Lyft. Again, like I said, it's probably down the line, probably in the future, probably coming up next, probably uh, probably soon. It will be for Uber, but right as of right now, it's specifically for Lyft. If you use any third party service as of right now, you got to remove it off of your account. That is what the email said. That is what the email said. So in my case, I use Gridwise. I definitely use Gridwise for mileage tracking. But they want all third-party services. I also use Maestro in my case because again, I like to have 3 seconds to make a life-changing decision. You know, with less information, Maestro, you know, I can look at it. Okay, it's $25 an hour. All right, I take it. You know, like it's you know, I can look back at the ride. Oh, okay, yeah, it was going this way. You know, it just gives so much more information. Like, I don't know, because I look at it as I'm an independent contractor, right? I'm trying to make my money out here. The more data that I have, the better decisions that I can make for me and my business. Unfortunately, with this email today, it is basically saying that nah, you can't make those decisions for your business because yeah, you need to take them off or we're gonna deactivate you. So like I said, I'm just putting the information out there because it just came up maybe like an hour or two ago. Um, like I said, it's probably directed towards specifically people that use Maestro and Maximo, but just in case you don't know about it, just in case you haven't seen it, if you have any third party services, so that's Maestro, Maximo, that's Everlance, Solo, Gridwise, anything that you give access to your Lyft account from, any app that you give access to your Lyft account from, or you're logging into your Lyft account from a different app, it's called a third party access. They're saying that you should take it off of your Lyft account. uh, Again, they're saying it. If you didn't get the email, then maybe it's just Maestro Maximo. Like I said, I don't know. The email said, y'all know I always try to be very technical because there's nobody that just, for a lot of us, this is how we make money. Whether it's a side hustle, whether it's whether it's full time, like for me, whether this is just random time, this is how we make our money. So always try to be very careful when they put out these emails to say it exactly how they said it, so that get you don't get caught up in it. What's up, Marathon? He says he's late. What's going on? I was just letting everybody know. So I got an email. I got email on my Lyft account. Only on my Lyft account. Uber hasn't came out just yet and said it. But if you and I was kind of breaking it all down. But as of right now, Lyft just put out an email towards, like I said, I think it's focused more to Maestro and Maximo users. So if you use Maestro, if you use Maximo, then you probably got this email as well. But in the email, they said all third party resources have to be taken off of your Lyft account. So that's what the issue is. And if you don't, then you'll be deactivated. You're at risk for deactivation. Like, I know that I barely use Lyft. I don't do Lyft at all. Like, I haven't done a Lyft ride in almost 2 months. So what does that mean? It means a uh, third party provider. It sounds like you don't do anything. You don't have anything connected to your account. So if you use something like a mileage tracker, which is what I use in terms of Gridwise. See, I was gonna put out this video to talk about these types of things, but now I probably shouldn't. But yeah, so if you use anything that taps into your account, that gives access, that you give access to your account, how can I now see, now I'm about to get really complicated. Yeah. Anything that taps into your account that is not inside Lyft, it's called a third party provider. So I'm giving the example of something like Gridwise, something like Solo. If you watch a lot of these YouTubers, a lot of YouTubers promote Solo, right? Because they start off saying it tracks your mileage, but Solo gives like a leaderboard. It tells you like what people are doing in the area, like in terms of money. So like you kind of see, but it's really expensive. And obviously but I'm not gonna say it, but yeah. So a lot of people promote Solo. Solo is one of them. Everlance is another one. But if you use any app to do like your mileage tracking, um, that's one aspect of it. Maestro and Maximo. If you're familiar with Para used to be the granddaddy of them all, but Maestro, Maximo, and obviously I'm referencing Para. Para is just all of those three are, they filter your rides according to your requirements. So basically, they tell you, okay, this. So you know that new offer screen on Lyft, where it tells you at the bottom, it says, okay, this is a $22 an hour ride. This is a $25 an hour ride. Oh, this is a $30 an hour ride. You know that new offer screen on Lyft? That's basically what the three apps that I mentioned, Para, Maestro. I can't stop saying Para, but Maestro and Maximo. That's basically what they do. And that was Lyft's way of saying that you don't need Maestro and Maximo because we're going to tell you how much the hourly per offer is. The problem with the problem and the reason why people still use it today is because yeah, you give us the hourly, but then you send us like 15 offers in the same minute, and it's like you got to make those decisions. So what happens is these apps will filter your offers according to your requirements. So if you're like, I only take $25 an hour rides, then it'll filter it according to that. Does that make sense? If you're like, hey, I don't like, in my case, um I don't like multi-stop rides with multiple stops. It will automatically decline those rides. Well, I mean, if you set it up like that. So it filtered your rides based on what you liked. So specifically, I think that they are targeting those apps, but I'm also including the other third-party apps as well. Like if you use an app, the biggest reason that I can see for a third-party app is grid, is mileage tracking. Because if you know from tax purposes, the track your mileage from when you get a passenger in your car to when you let the passenger out, right? But obviously, that is not all of your mileage. You have to drive to the passenger. You have to drive from the passenger. You're driving around trying to get a passenger. That is all a part of your mileage. Again, I'm not a tax professional, but I would recommend that that is a part of your mileage. So if you use anything to kind of, um, yeah, if you use anything to track your mileage that taps into your account, that's one way. Like I know back in the day, they used to have uh, what was it? It wasn't I can't think of what the app used to be. It used to now these are like different third party apps. It used to be a scheduling app. I can't think of what the app was now. I keep so in my mind I'm like school. No, it wasn't Busy Bee. I can't think of what the app used to be, but it used to be an app that can help you schedule your rides. It would pick out the scheduled rides, and that way you can kind of like have your day scheduled. It no longer works. So the real good apps that used to be like really good, they no longer work. But yeah, so the whole long story short is that if you use any other app but the Lyft app in your daily commute, in your daily grind, um, again, I'm not talking about if you use Lyft or Uber or your multi app. Talking about if you use other. Sorry, sorry, I'm getting blown up. People are calling me. People are calling me. But yeah, if you use any other app, then yeah, any other app for your job, um, then you have to disconnect it from your account. In other words, so yeah, I was just giving examples. But any other app that taps into your account, you have to disconnect it from your account. Well, okay, okay, yeah. I'm just putting the information out because yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen it. I don't know if anybody else has put it out. But yeah, just trying to make sure that you guys know. It sounds like a lot of y'all don't really do any third party apps, so that's cool. I was going to put out. I was definitely gonna put out a video on like a couple resources that I use, but now that's kind of like a setup for failure. Yeah, man. 'Cause, I don't know. I don't really know. It looks like I got to go back to the pen and paper of like tracking my mileage, which is so like, oh man, that sucks. It really sucks. It really sucks. Like I said, my assumption is that that is just from Maestro and Maximo, but you don't know. You don't know. What's up, King AK? What's up? What's up, bro? Um, yeah. So these are changes, but this all happened a couple days ago. And then this is where I was just trying to kind of wrap it up and just make you understand. A couple days ago, if you were on Lyft, you couldn't log on to Lyft. A couple days ago, the servers were down. A couple days ago, you had issues with Lyft. I don't do much Lyft, but the guys in the group do, and they were talking about it. And they were saying, you can't log in and all of this stuff. And then I got the little message saying that, everything was fixed and all of that. But that was, I want to say that was Monday. Um, but the result of that, it must be some sort of way it came from this situation, the third party apps. Um, yeah, so whatever the case is, third party apps request your account data from Lyft. You have to give them access. Use third party apps for pretty much a lot of different things. Like obviously in my car, I use Tessie, which is a third party app. Um, I'm trying to think with Google, well, like my Google account, I use third party apps to send like emails, different email providers because I don't necessarily like Gmail. um, with the iPhone, I use third party apps. I mean, third party apps are cool. What all it is a developer, somebody saying, "Hey, what features you guys allow? I want to add some more features to it." And unfortunately, unfortunately, we have bad actors in this world. So whatever the case is, they use that third party link and took down the service. Again, this isn't like somebody small. Like I could never do it on my computer. I just could. Lyft is a $1 billion company. They have crazy servers. My one little computer I can't touch their server. This had to be a collective people. This had to be a collective group. And it's unfortunate because, you know, they use this kind of way to get in to take down the service. They used it, they used it as a way to take down the service. And it has nothing to do with us. But now we as drivers are going to be affected because these are all resources that we use. I mean, some of us use. But I get it. If you don't use the resources, then it makes sense. It's one of those things. If you don't use it, it's all good. It's just like saying, like if you don't know about Costco being cheaper for gas, it's all good. The people that know that Costco is cheaper, they benefit from it. The people that don't, you know, it's kind of the same concept. So it is what it is. But I was definitely gonna make a video on it. But now I can't make that video. But yeah, man. With that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. I just kind of wanted to put the information out, let you guys know, just in case you didn't know, just in case you weren't paying attention to your emails, if you got the email. But yeah, as of right now, that is what Lyft says. So yeah. Other than that, obviously there will be a video coming out tonight. I don't know what it's gonna be about, so we'll figure that part out. But yeah, if you're not a part of the Telegram group, the Telegram community, as I'm gonna say now, download the Telegram app, which is obviously a third party app. um, and click the link in my description to join the community. This way you can be up to date because they keep me up to date because I wasn't paying attention to my emails. So shout out to ELT. Since I was on a ride, I'm like, whatever. But yeah, other than that, if you got any questions, any comments, leave them down below. But yeah, I'm out of here.